You see, there's a place where people often find themselves, a place that feels comfortable but leaves them uncertain. It's the place of limbo. You know what I'm talking about? Talking about that space where you're holding on, but you're not truly moving forward. You're stuck between two worlds, holding on to what you think you need, afraid to let go because the future feels too uncertain. But let me tell you something, limbo is a lie. It's an illusion. The longer you stay there, the more you lose sight of who you were meant to be. You keep wondering why you feel so lost, so drained, so stuck, and it's because you've allowed yourself to exist in a space that robs you of clarity. Clarity in your relationships, clarity in your purpose, and clarity in your life. Limbo is a space where many people find themselves at some point in their lives emotionally, mentally, or even physically. It's that murky area between clarity and confusion, between commitment and uncertainty, where the mind struggles to know what's right and what's wrong, where you know something isn't quite right, but aren't sure how to fix it. You're stuck in a loop of indecision and hesitation, not truly making progress, but also not truly letting go. In relationships, it's often the place where people feel emotionally stuck, caught between staying and leaving, between loving and letting go. It's where love exists without foundation, where emotions linger in the air without the certainty of the future. When you're in limbo, you're not fully invested, yet you're not entirely detached. You're walking a tightrope, constantly balancing between what you have now and what you're unsure of in the future. It's a frustrating place to be because it keeps you from experiencing the fullness of life and love. Your heart is torn between two options, neither of which fully satisfies you, but you're too afraid to make a choice. You start to doubt yourself, wondering if the life you desire is truly possible, if what you're holding on to is worth it, or if there's something better on the other side of the decision you're avoiding. In relationships, limbo feels like living on hold, as though you're waiting for someone else to make a move, to offer clarity, or to give you some kind of sign. It's a place of suspension where nothing moves forward and nothing ends. It's as though you're waiting for the world to confirm your next step, or for someone to tell you it's okay to move forward, to take that leap of faith. But the reality is, limbo is self-imposed. It's not something that happens to you. It's a state you allow yourself to exist in. It is the result of staying in a relationship, situation, or mindset that no longer serves you simply because of fear, comfort, or the uncertainty of what lies ahead. In this state, you're neither completely attached nor entirely free. You're stuck in a loop of indecision, constantly wondering whether you should stay or go, constantly questioning your worth, your choices, and your future. But let me make this clear, limbo does not belong in your life. It is a thief stealing your joy, your peace, and your clarity. It steals the potential you could be stepping into. When you're stuck in limbo, you're putting your life on pause, waiting for external circumstances to change or for a moment of divine clarity to hit you. You're allowing yourself to float in an emotional and spiritual space that, while comfortable at first, only keeps you from experiencing true growth. Instead of living fully, you're living cautiously, constantly checking to see if everything will align, constantly waiting for the perfect moment to act. In limbo, it's easy to convince yourself that you're being careful, that you're protecting yourself from making the wrong decision. But the truth is, you're only delaying your own progress. You're avoiding discomfort, avoiding the discomfort of making a choice, avoiding the discomfort of facing the unknown. But there's a dangerous trap in avoiding discomfort. You're also avoiding the growth that comes from it. You can never grow in the safety of the familiar. Growth happens in the space between what you know and what you don't. If you stay in limbo, you stay trapped in the familiar, constantly revisiting the same thoughts, the same fears, the same indecision. And in that space, nothing ever changes. Limbo keeps you emotionally stagnant. It prevents you from truly experiencing the fullness of love, of life, and of all the possibilities that await you. Love in limbo is not real love. It's a temporary fix, a shadow of what love could be. You may think you're in love, but if your relationship is stuck in limbo, it's not allowing you to fully open your heart. It's not allowing you to make the deep emotional investment that true love requires. True love doesn't exist in uncertainty. It thrives in clarity. It thrives in decision. If you're unsure about the future, then you're not fully giving yourself to the relationship, and neither are they. The emotional toll of being in limbo is significant. You carry the weight of indecision on your shoulders, and it affects every area of your life. It pulls your energy away from where it needs to go. Instead of being fully present in the moments that matter, you're stuck in your head trying to figure out what you should do next. Your mind is divided between two possibilities, and in the process, you lose the ability to fully live in the process. You lose the ability to now. The truth is, you can't afford to live in limbo. Time is a precious commodity, and every moment spent in uncertainty is a moment lost. You deserve clarity. You deserve peace. You deserve to make decisions with confidence and move forward without fear of the unknown. Stop waiting for a sign. Stop hoping for things to magically change. The power to change your situation is within you. It's time to take charge of your own life and stop allowing yourself to linger in a space that doesn't serve you. Clarity is one of the most powerful forces in life. Without it, we are like ships drifting aimlessly in the vast ocean, subject to the winds of uncertainty, tossed from one direction to the next without a clear sense of purpose or destination. When we lack clarity, we remain trapped in confusion, unable to make decisions, unable to take action. In relationships, work, or even in personal growth, clarity is essential. It gives us the vision to see where we are and where we need to go, and it empowers us to make choices that align with our values, goals, and desires. Without clarity, we become prisoners of indecision, paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong move. Clarity is the antidote to the chaos of limbo. When you find clarity, you regain your sense of direction. You can see beyond the fog of confusion, and suddenly everything becomes clearer. You can look at your relationships, your career, your goals, and your life as a whole, and you can make decisions with confidence because you understand where you stand and where you want to go. Clarity allows you to assess situations without the emotional noise that clouds your judgment. It gives you the ability to weigh your options and make decisions based on what truly matters, not based on fear or uncertainty. When you have clarity, you are no longer swayed by doubts or second guessing. You know exactly what you need to do, and you have the courage to move forward with intention. However, achieving clarity is not always easy. It requires time, introspection, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. It means looking deep within yourself and understanding your own desires, values, and limitations. It means being honest about what is working in your life and what is not. It means confronting the hard questions that you may have been avoiding and being brave enough to make the decisions that may bring about change, even if that change is difficult. Clarity often requires letting go of old patterns, unhealthy attachments, or limiting beliefs that keep you stuck in a cycle of indecision. It involves understanding that while the unknown may seem scary, it is often the only path to true growth and freedom. When you lack clarity, you can feel like you're walking in circles, trying to find a way out, but never really getting anywhere. You may be stuck in a relationship that no longer serves you, holding on to someone who isn't ready to commit or doesn't value you the way you deserve. You might be pursuing a career path that doesn't align with your passions or your true calling, but you're afraid to make a change because you're not sure what else is out there. You may be holding on to old hurts, unresolved emotions, or unhealed wounds that cloud your ability to see things clearly. In all of these situations, the absence of clarity keeps you trapped in limbo, unable to move forward, unable to make the choices that would free you and lead you toward a better future. The process of finding clarity often involves slowing down and tuning out the noise. It requires you to create space for reflection, for deep thinking, and for listening to your inner voice. In a world filled with distractions, it's easy to get caught up in the opinions of others and external pressures, or in the whirlwind of daily life. But clarity is born in the stillness. It's born when you take a step back, when you give yourself permission to pause, and when you allow yourself the time and space to truly understand what matters most to you. This process may not be immediate, but it's essential. Once you allow yourself to reflect and clarify your values, your desires, and your priorities, the path ahead becomes much clearer. Clarity also brings with it the gift of decision. When you know what you want and why you want it, decisions become easier. You stop second guessing yourself, wondering if you made the right choice. You stop fearing the unknown because you trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. In relationships, clarity allows you to understand what you need from your partner, what your boundaries are, and what kind of love you deserve. It helps you let go of relationships that hold you back and move toward those that align with your highest self. In your career or personal life, clarity allows you to see the opportunities that align with your passions and your purpose, and it gives you the strength to pursue them with confidence. Clarity is also about understanding that not all decisions need to be perfect. Sometimes we get stuck because we want everything to be perfectly clear before we act. But clarity doesn't always come in a neatly packaged, perfectly timed moment. Often it comes as a process, one step at a time. The more you move in the direction of clarity, the more the path will reveal itself to you. The key is to take that first step, to trust yourself, and to keep moving forward, even if the full picture isn't yet visible. With each step, your clarity will deepen and your confidence will grow. In the end, clarity is freedom. It is the freedom to make choices that honor who you are and what you want. It is the freedom to move forward without hesitation, to let go of the things that no longer serve you, and to step into the life you were always meant to live. When you have clarity, you stop wasting time in indecision, and you start living with purpose, passion, and intention. Clarity is the key that unlocks the door to your future. Fear of change is one of the most powerful forces that hold people back from living the life they truly want. It's a feeling that many of us experience, often subconsciously, when faced with the possibility of stepping into the unknown. The fear of change keeps us locked in situations, relationships, and jobs that no longer serve us simply because the alternative feels too uncertain, familiar, or too risky. It creates a resistance to move forward, even when we know deep down that change is necessary for our growth and happiness. This fear is particularly evident in relationships where people often stay in toxic or unfulfilling partnerships because they are afraid of what life might look like without them. They fear being alone, fear not finding someone else, or fear the unknown that comes with the decision to leave. Similarly, in our careers or personal lives, we hold on to what we know, even if it doesn't align with our true calling, simply because the idea of change is so terrifying. The fear of change is often rooted in the comfort of the familiar. Even when the situation we're in is causing us pain or dissatisfaction, it's still something we know. It's predictable, even if it's not ideal. Humans are wired to seek stability and safety, and in many cases that stability is found in the status quo, no matter how unfulfilling it may be. Change represents the unknown, and the unknown feels unsafe. It's the fear of stepping outside our comfort zone, of leaving behind what we know in order to embrace something that may not work out, something that might be even more difficult than the situation we're currently in. The truth, however, is that this fear of change can be more harmful than the change itself. It keeps us stuck, prevents us from evolving, and forces us to settle for less than we deserve. What people often fail to realize is that while change can be uncomfortable, it is also the very thing that leads to growth. Growth requires discomfort. It requires stepping out of your comfort zone and facing the unknown with courage and faith. Change forces us to confront new challenges, develop new skills, and adapt to new environments. It is the only way to move forward in life. Whether it's a change in a relationship, a career, or a mindset, it's through change that we discover new strengths, new possibilities, and new dimensions of who we are. Without change, we remain stagnant, caught in the same cycle of fear, insecurity, and limitation. The fear of change is often fueled by the stories we tell ourselves. We convince ourselves that things won't get better, that we'll fail, that we won't find what we're looking for, that we're not strong enough to handle the challenges that change brings. These stories are based on our past experiences, our insecurities, and our limiting beliefs. They are not necessarily true, but they feel true because they are familiar. But here's the key. These stories are only as powerful as you allow them to be. You have the ability to rewrite them. The more you allow fear to dictate your decisions, the more you become trapped in a life that doesn't align with your true desires and potential. But the moment you face your fear and decide to step forward despite it, you begin to take back control of your life. One of the most significant aspects of overcoming the fear of change is understanding that failure is not the end of the road, it's part of the journey. Many people are afraid to change because they are terrified of failing. They fear that if they try something new, they won't succeed, and that failure will prove that they made the wrong choice. But failure is not the enemy, it's a lesson. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to improve. When you stop fearing failure and start seeing it as part of the process, you free yourself from the grip of fear. You stop seeing change as something that could potentially break you and start seeing it as something that will ultimately shape you into the person you are meant to become. The fear of change also prevents us from seeing the bigger picture. We focus too much on the immediate discomfort and forget about the long-term benefits that come with embracing change. Yes, it might be difficult at first. Yes, you might face challenges and obstacles along the way, but if you can push through those initial fears, if you can make it through the discomfort, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more confident. The growth that comes from change is invaluable. The change you fear is often the very thing that will unlock the door to your greatest potential. It is the catalyst for transformation. In relationships, the fear of change often shows up as a fear of letting go. You may be holding on to someone or something that no longer serves you because you're afraid of what your life will look like without it. You fear the loneliness, the heartbreak, or the uncertainty that comes with ending something that at one point may have seemed like it was meant to last forever. But what you need to understand is that holding on to what is no longer serving you is the greatest act of fear, not courage. True courage comes from embracing the unknown, from trusting that something better is out there and that letting go of the past is necessary for you to move forward into the future. The fear of change also shows up when we avoid making decisions, when we stay in situations we know are unhealthy because the alternative seems too overwhelming. But the truth is, you are stronger than your fear. The unknown may seem scary, but the growth, the opportunities, and the peace that come with embracing change are worth it. You can't move forward if you're constantly looking back. Change is the only way to create the life you desire. The only way to step into the person you are meant to be. You don't have to let fear keep you from the life you are meant to live. The moment you make the decision to face your fear and embrace change, you begin the journey toward your own transformation. The fear will never completely go away, but you will find that with each step you grow stronger, more confident, and more capable of handling whatever life throws your way. The future belongs to those who are brave enough to embrace change, and when you choose to do so, you choose the life you truly deserve. Living in limbo has a profound impact on every area of our lives, especially when it comes to our emotional well-being. It can drain our energy, prevent us from experiencing true peace, and keep us stuck in cycles of frustration and dissatisfaction. When we remain in limbo, caught between indecision and fear, we rob ourselves of the potential for growth and fulfillment. We get so wrapped up in uncertainty that we lose sight of our worth. And in doing so, we fail to see the life and opportunities waiting for us just beyond the discomfort of making a decision. The emotional toll of being in limbo isn't just about feeling stuck in the moment, it's about the long-term damage it can cause to our sense of self and our capacity to move forward. One of the most immediate consequences of living in limbo is the toll it takes on our mental health. When we're unsure about the direction we should take, we become consumed by our thoughts. Our minds become like a battlefield, torn between what we feel we should do and what we fear will happen if we take action. This constant state of inner conflict leads to anxiety, stress, and emotional exhaustion. Instead of being present in the moment, we're caught in a loop of overthinking, worrying about the past and the future, but rarely focusing on the now. We end up wasting valuable energy trying to figure out what the right, Move is when in fact no action at all is often more harmful than simply making a decision and moving forward. Living in limbo also erodes our self-esteem and sense of self-worth. When we remain in a situation that isn't working, we begin to question our value. We wonder why we can't seem to make a change, why we can't break free from the cycle of indecision. The longer we stay in limbo, the more we lose touch with our power to make choices and take control of our own lives. We may convince ourselves that we're not capable of making the right decision, that we're too weak to handle the change, or that we don't deserve better. This mindset, born out of fear and uncertainty, keeps us stuck in a negative loop. Our internal dialogue becomes critical and self-defeating, reinforcing the idea that we're not strong enough to move forward. The more we stay in limbo, the more we allow our self-doubt to grow, feeding into the belief that we are trapped in a situation with no way out. Another consequence of living in limbo is the stagnation that accompanies it. Whether it's in a relationship, career, or personal growth, staying in a state of indecision prevents progress. Growth requires movement, action, and change. It requires us to take risks and make decisions that may be uncomfortable at first, but will ultimately lead to transformation. Limbo keeps us stuck in place, unable to move forward, because we're too afraid of what might happen if we step into the unknown. The longer we hesitate, the further we drift from our potential. We become complacent, accepting the status quo and resigning ourselves to a life of mediocrity. We become so accustomed to the uncertainty that we stop looking for the opportunities that could change our lives. The more we stay in limbo, the more we waste time that could be spent creating the future we desire. The consequences of living in limbo also manifest in our relationships. When we are unsure about where we stand or what we want, it creates a toxic dynamic that can affect our interactions with others. In romantic relationships, living in limbo often means being emotionally unavailable, disconnected, or unclear about our intentions. We might keep someone around because we're not ready to let go, but we're also not ready to commit. This uncertainty confuses our partner, causing frustration, disappointment, and resentment to build over time. We fail to give them the clarity they need, which undermines trust and intimacy. When we can't make up our minds, we prevent the relationship from progressing, leaving both parties in a state of emotional limbo. The same applies to friendships, family dynamics, and professional relationships. Indecision keeps us from forming deep, meaningful connections because we're not fully invested, nor are we fully present. In addition to the emotional and relational toll, living in limbo impacts our overall sense of fulfillment. When we are caught in a state of indecision, we are unable to fully embrace the opportunities in front of us. We might hesitate to pursue our dreams, take risks, or try new things because we're so consumed by the fear of making the wrong choice. This fear of failure or fear of the unknown paralyzes us, preventing us from living a life filled with passion and purpose. We may look at others who are moving forward with their lives and feel envious, wondering why they seem to have it all together while we're stuck in a holding pattern. This dissatisfaction can lead to resentment and a sense of inadequacy, leaving us feeling as though we're not living the life we were meant to live. The longer we live in limbo, the more our time and energy are drained. We spend so much mental and emotional energy on worrying, second-guessing, and staying stuck that we have little left to invest in ourselves or in what truly matters. We become so focused on the uncertainty of our situation that we fail to see the possibilities that exist outside of our fears. When we stop making decisions and taking action, we are essentially giving away our power to change our circumstances. We stop being proactive and start reacting to life, letting the weight of indecision carry us wherever it may lead. This sense of powerlessness only deepens our frustration and keeps us from ever reaching the full potential of who we are meant to be. Ultimately, living in limbo is a form of self-sabotage. It's a refusal to step into the life we deserve because we're too afraid of change or of making a mistake. The consequences of this mindset are far-reaching, touching not only our emotional well-being, but also our relationships, our careers, and our sense of self-worth. However, the good news is that we don't have to stay in limbo forever. We have the power to break free from it by making the conscious decision to move forward, to take action, and to embrace change. Only when we release the hold that indecision has over us can we truly begin to experience the life and growth that await us on the other side of fear. We often forget that growth is not just a one-time event, but a continuous process. Many of us find ourselves stuck in limbo because we've forgotten the importance of evolving. We get comfortable in our routines, our current circumstances, or even in relationships that no longer bring us joy or fulfillment. The problem is that when we stop growing, we start to stagnate. We become complacent, settling for the familiar because it feels safe, even though it no longer serves us. The truth is, growth requires discomfort, change, and sometimes even letting go of things we thought we couldn't live without. When we resist growth, we resist the very essence of life itself. Growth challenges us to stretch, to reach beyond where we are now, and to tap into potential we may not even realize we have. It's the path to becoming the best version of ourselves. Growth is about embracing change, and change by its very nature can be uncomfortable. The reason many people resist growth is that it often means stepping into the unknown, facing challenges, and sometimes experiencing failure. We fear that if we make the wrong move, if we step into the new and unfamiliar, we might lose what we have or end up worse off than before. However, it's essential to understand that growth doesn't happen without taking risks. If we want to move from where we are to where we want to be, we must face the fear of the unknown. Growth isn't about avoiding discomfort, it's about learning to face it, understanding that it is a necessary part of the process. Without discomfort, there's no challenge. And without challenge, there's no opportunity for growth. The fear of growth often stems from a lack of self-belief. We don't believe that we're capable of growing beyond our current circumstances, or we tell ourselves that we're too old, too inexperienced, or not good enough to achieve more. These limiting beliefs become barriers that prevent us from reaching our true potential. When we live in fear of our own growth, we also limit the possibilities in our lives. The truth is, growth begins with self-belief. When we trust ourselves to take that first step into the unknown, we give ourselves permission to transform. We stop seeing our weaknesses as obstacles and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. We realize that every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward the life we truly want to create. Growth requires us to be intentional. It's not something that happens passively. We can't expect to grow if we continue to live the same way, in the same environment, with the same mindset. Growth demands that. Growth demands action. It requires us to take deliberate steps, to push beyond our comfort zones, and to keep striving for more. This might mean learning new skills, taking on new responsibilities, or pursuing a new career path. It might mean ending relationships that no longer serve us or starting new ones that are aligned with our true values. Growth means doing what needs to be done, even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. If we want to see change in our lives, we have to be willing to change ourselves. We can't expect different results if we're unwilling to make different choices. One of the biggest hurdles to growth is the fear of failure. Failure, however, is a part of growth. It is not the opposite of success, but rather a necessary step toward it. Many of us fear that we'll fail if we step out of our comfort zones, that our efforts will be in vain and we'll be left feeling worse than before. But failure is not something to be feared, it's a teacher. Every failure carries a lesson, an opportunity for us to learn and adjust. The more we fear failure, the more we remain stagnant, too afraid to try, too afraid to grow. But when we accept that failure is a part of the journey, we free ourselves from the fear of it. We understand that failure doesn't define us, it refines us. It pushes us to be better, stronger, and more resilient. The process of growth also involves letting go of what no longer serves us. Often we find ourselves holding on to relationships, jobs, or habits that keep us stuck in the past. We are afraid to let go because we become comfortable with what we know, even if it's unhealthy. Letting go requires courage because it often involves saying goodbye to what we thought was meant for us, what we thought would fulfill us. But the truth is that until we let go of what's holding us back, we cannot fully embrace what's meant for us. When we hold on too tightly to the past, we prevent ourselves from experiencing the new possibilities that are waiting for us in the future. Growth means releasing what no longer serves us so that we can make space for something better. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Another key aspect of growth is learning to embrace discomfort. We've been taught that comfort equals safety, and while comfort can feel good in the short term, it often keeps us from becoming who we are truly meant to be. Comfort zones are like prisons that confine us to a small space, limiting our potential. Growth requires us to step out of those comfortable spaces and into the unknown. It might feel scary at first, but it's in those uncomfortable moments that we discover our true strength and resilience. When we embrace discomfort, we start to see it as a sign that we are on the right path. We stop seeing it as something to avoid and start seeing it as a signal that we are growing, evolving, and moving towards something greater. Ultimately, growth is about becoming who you were always meant to be. It's about shedding the old layers that no longer serve you, confronting the fears that have kept you stuck, and stepping into the fullness of your potential. It's about understanding that you are capable of more than you think and that your future is not defined by your past. Growth is the bridge between who you are and who you are meant to become. It is a continuous journey that requires action, self-belief, and a willingness to face discomfort. Growth is not a destination, it's a way of life. The more you embrace it, the more you will experience the fullness of life that you've always dreamed of. We often hear the phrase, stop living in limbo, but what does it truly mean to live outside of this state of uncertainty? To stop living in limbo means to take ownership of your life and stop letting fear or indecision control your decision. It means moving forward with a sense of purpose, committing to actions that align with your values, and making choices that propel you toward the life you desire. Too often, people stay in limbo because they're waiting for the perfect moment, for everything to align just right, or for someone else to give them permission to act. However, the truth is, waiting for perfect conditions can keep you stuck forever. The key to breaking free from this cycle is realizing that the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the decision to stop waiting. Living in limbo means you are constantly in a state of indecision, unsure of where to go next, whether to stay or leave, or whether to take a risk or play it safe. This uncertainty can be paralyzing, and as a result, you often find yourself stuck in relationships, jobs, or situations that drain you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's not that you don't want change, but the fear of the unknown is so overwhelming that you don't take the necessary steps forward. You may feel that making a decision means committing to something irreversible, or that you might regret your choice later. However, the real danger is in staying in limbo, because by doing so, you are avoiding the very change that could lead to your growth and freedom. One of the main reasons people stay in limbo is the fear of making the wrong decision. This fear of making a mistake often leads to procrastination, which ultimately keeps them stuck in their current situation. It's easy to believe that the decision to change your life must be the perfect one, but the truth is, there is rarely such a thing. Most decisions, especially the difficult ones, carry some degree of risk. But that's also what makes them powerful. Taking action, even when it's uncertain, leads to growth, new opportunities, and often unexpected results. It's through taking risks, making mistakes, and learning from them that we gain clarity and direction. When you allow yourself to make decisions, even if they're imperfect, you stop living in a state of fear and indecision. You start to trust yourself more, and over time, you become better at navigating life's complexities. To stop living in limbo also means taking responsibility for your own life. It's about owning your decisions, your actions, and the direction you're headed. When you're stuck in limbo, you often feel like a passive observer, waiting for something external to happen or change. However, the truth is, you are the one with the power to shape your own future. You may not be able to control every aspect of your life, but you can control how you respond to the challenges and opportunities that come your way. When you make the choice to take ownership of your life, you begin to see that you have more control than you ever realized. You stop waiting for permission, and you start taking the steps that will lead you to the life you want. Part of taking responsibility for your life involves setting boundaries and making choices that are aligned with your values. When you live in limbo, you often find yourself compromising your values, accepting situations that don't truly serve you, and tolerating behavior that you know is beneath you. To stop living in limbo means standing firm in your worth and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. This might mean walking away from relationships, jobs, or situations that no longer align with your goals and values. It takes courage to make these decisions, but it also takes self-respect. Setting boundaries is about protecting your energy and ensuring that the people and things in your life are contributing positively to your growth rather than holding you back. Another important aspect of stopping living in limbo is embracing the unknown. Fear of the unknown often keeps us paralyzed, but the truth is we can never truly predict what will happen in the future. Life is unpredictable. And while we may plan and prepare, there is always an element of uncertainty. This uncertainty doesn't have to be something to fear. It can be something to embrace. The unknown is where opportunities and growth lie. It's in stepping outside of your comfort zone and facing the unknown that you truly begin to expand. The fear of what could go wrong often outweighs the excitement of what could go right. But when you start to see uncertainty as a fertile ground for possibility, you stop waiting for conditions to be perfect and start taking the steps necessary to create your own path. One of the most significant reasons people live in limbo is the belief that they don't deserve better or that they're not worthy of the life they desire. This belief often comes from past experiences or deep-seated insecurities that tell you that you're not good enough, not capable enough, or that you're somehow broken. These feelings of unworthiness keep you from taking action because you feel that you don't have the right to demand more for yourself. But the truth is, you are deserving of everything you desire, and no situation, person, or circumstance should make you believe otherwise. To stop living in limbo means choosing to believe in your worth. It means acknowledging that you have the power to create a life that fulfills you and that you are worthy of living in alignment with your desires. This shift in mindset is essential for breaking free from limbo and stepping into the life you were meant to live. The final step in stopping living in limbo is recognizing that the power to change is always within you. You don't have to wait for someone or something to make the change for you. Change starts with the decision to act, to choose, and to move forward. Life is happening right now, and every moment you spend waiting for the perfect time is a moment you can never get back. Stop waiting for everything to align perfectly. Take the leap. Even if you don't have all the answers, even if the path isn't clear, taking action will bring you closer to the life you truly want. By making decisions, setting boundaries, embracing uncertainty, and choosing to believe in your worth, you will move from a life of indecision and fear into one of purpose, fulfillment, and growth. Stop living in limbo. The life you desire is waiting for you to step into it. In conclusion, the decision to stop living in limbo is the first step towards reclaiming your power and embracing the fullness of life that's waiting for you. It's about stepping away from fear, indecision, and self-doubt and making the conscious choice to move forward, even when the path is unclear. Growth doesn't come from waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from taking action, even if that action feels uncomfortable. The fear of making the wrong choice or of stepping into the unknown will always be there, but it's in those very moments of uncertainty that we find our strength, our purpose, and our potential. Stop waiting for permission from others or for conditions to be perfect. The power to transform your life lies within you, and it begins with the decision to take charge of your own future. Embrace the unknown, trust yourself, and know that you are deserving of the life you desire. When you stop living in limbo, you stop merely existing and start truly living. The world is waiting for you to step into your greatness, so don't hold back any longer. Move forward with courage, conviction, and the unshakable belief that you are capable of creating the life you've always dreamed of. No more excuses. The time to step out of limbo and into your life is now. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for things to align just right. The perfect moment will never come because life doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It moves forward with or without you. Every moment spent in indecision, every second spent in fear or uncertainty is a moment you can never get back. The excuses you've been telling yourself, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, it's too late, are just stories you've been feeding your mind to keep you stuck. But you were not born to stay stuck. You were not created to live in fear, to live in doubt, or to live in limbo. You were created for greatness, and greatness demands action. It demands courage. It demands that you stop making excuses, start making moves. Today is the day you stop hesitating, stop procrastinating, and stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you are worthy of success, love, and fulfillment. The power to change your life is already inside you. It's time to believe it. Stop giving yourself reasons not to act and start finding reasons to move forward. No more delays, no more work waiting for permission. You have everything you need right now to take the first step, so take it. Your future is waiting for you to claim it. Your dreams are waiting for you to pursue them. And you are more than capable of achieving everything you set your mind to. It's time to stop living in limbo. It's time to start living the life you were meant to live. No more excuses, no more delays. Your time is now.
As expect the most tell you something's real. Emotional dependency is a silent killer of dreams. Miraculously restore yourself or your potential, your very essence. When you allow other of your essential the hardening over the remote control. And let me be crystal clear, that's not leaving. I'll be seen around like ghosts, their energy depleted, their spirits approval from partners, friends, family, even answers drifting. I'm listing waiting quotes, but here's the hard truth. Eddie, no one can better than you think about in it every single options to shake your confidence. Every moment you will be changed yourself to fate losing a part of yourself, and that stops now. Emotional independence is not about being hard, it's not about building walls. Understanding you weight, recognizing that your emotions are valid, need external validations to confirm